Hey, good morning, Programming 12. I'm going to be telling you all about towers today. We're just going to start with making a basic tower, just a single kind of tower. I know we have plans for many cool kinds of interesting towers, but we'll start with just a plain old, I guess, the gun tower of the three. And we'll lay down the basics so you can see, how is this supposed to look, and then you're going to be in charge of making other cool advancements for the tower class. So we're going to start right here. So we have the tower class ready for you to go. And I guess we just got to give it some instance variables. It's pretty clear what a tower needs. It needs an X and a Y. What else does it need? Man, it's actually going to need a lot. Some of which we're going to leave off for today. But one thing I'd like to put in for sure would be, it needs to be able to shoot bullets, right? So it should probably have some kind of a cooldown and threshold variable, like back in the bullet hell project in Programming 11. So the way those work, I'll just put them in. Cooldown is sort of like a timer that will tick up or down. It should be called cool up because we actually count up usually. And once it gets to a threshold, then we shoot a bullet. So it's sort of like counts how many frames will elapse between when bullets fire. And the smaller the threshold, which will be another variable, the faster it'll shoot. So if our cooldown is 0 and our threshold is 10, then we just kind of count up our cooldown until it gets to 10, and then we fire. So it would take 10 frames. So that's the basic idea there. Let's see what else we'll need later on. Let's just jump into getting that constructor made. So we have ourselves a tower, and I guess we probably want to be able to position these wherever we want. We want to put them in places. So I'm going to make a constructor that will take in these variables. Int. I don't know, pretty lame names, but they're just parameters so that we can assign them to our instance variables. So we'll just set up this kind of constructor. Threshold, sorry, I got that backwards. And threshold. All right. So that's our constructor, and we'll want to be able to show it so we can see what it looks like. And I think I'll just make it a square for now. So we'll make a show function. And yeah, it'll just be a rectangle that'll be centered at X and Y. So I'll say that's a square really. X, Y. And then I don't know if I have any plans for making the towers grow bigger in the future. So I'm just going to hard code the size right now. I'm just going to guess a number. I don't know if this will look good or not. We'll see. And we should probably pick a fill color. I guess I'll just fill blue because I haven't used blue. And stroke. Should I have a stroke? I don't know. I'll have to take a look and see what I think afterwards. What a stroke weight. Don't know. 4. We'll just try that out. So there's our show function. So let's go ahead and build an array list so that we can have towers. We used array lists in the last video for the mobs, and that makes sense because array lists are like arrays where they grow and shrink. So for our towers, we are going to have a variable amount of towers. You might have a whole 0 at the beginning of the game, and then you'll buy some and sell some. So the amount of towers is going to adjust over the game. So I think that's a good reason to use an array list. So we'll have to go make an array list of towers. So on my main tab, I'll make an array list of tower objects. I'll call it towers. So creative, but really the variable names is not where you want to be creative. Save your creativity for many other exciting places. Looks like we will create it just wherever we create our mobs array list. New array list tower. All right. And then now that it's created, we can add towers to the list. but we would probably like to have that loop that will animate them. So in play, I believe we have that. Let's see. This is the animate things. So we're going to put in a similar loop for our towers. I'm not actually going to say int. I'll just reuse I. And oops. I'll put in a while loop. While I is less than towers dot size. We will get a tower. I'll call it my tower. And then we will tell my tower to show. I guess we did act before first. We'll do act again first. I don't think that it matters too much. Okay, there we go. And of course, move on to the next tower so that we can show all the towers. It's remarkably similar code, isn't it? Oof, repetition. So we'll be talking about that in a later video of how we can cut down on this repetition. Right now, it looks pretty bad. Oh, I forgot. We don't actually have an act function yet. So I'm going to comment that out. If you notice, there's no act function yet. That's going to be the providence of the shooting code. So we'll build that in after we confirm that we actually have a tower on this screen and things are working. It's always good to test sort of the minimum amount of stuff that you can. Build the smallest amount of things and then go test it. I kind of had to build all those things before I could test it. Otherwise, it won't show up. So let's go and see if we actually get a tower. All right, so I should probably add some towers. Let's see. We have a make nodes function. We have create collections of objects. This is initializing variables. Eventually, we won't really start the game with towers at all. We'll have to buy them. We'll probably start with a certain amount of money. But just to test this out, let's just throw some towers down. Let's see. So maybe I will just put in test towers. And I'll just add in a tower or two just to see if they show up as little blue squares. So I'll say towers dot add new tower, and I'll tell it to go at like 100, 100, and then I guess I'm trying to think. In some ways, we don't really need to send it a cooldown or threshold, do we? Cooldown should be 0. Threshold should be, whatever number we want. But we'll probably, 200 would be pretty bad. 100, 60. We'll put 60. This will be fine. I think we might decide that we want to lock in these numbers at some sort of predefined value, as opposed to sort of choosing them always. But this is good. I think we'll like this. Okay, so let's run it and see if we see a tower at 100, 100. It should be just a blue square. And yeah, look at that. We have our tower. It doesn't really do anything. When I start the wave, the mobs walk past it and have no fear of the tower whatsoever. Also, a better place would probably be here, or wow, here would be great. So that's fine. But let's just see if we can make it now shoot some bullets. So in order to have bullets happening, I guess we would have to make it so we actually have a bullet class. So bullet class is very simple. It's very similar to what we did in Bullet Hell. So you'll recognize some of these things. So I'm going to go ahead and put in. We'll put in a float x and y, and we'll put in the vx and vy, that's a movement. So this is similar to a mob. And then I guess for our mob, we don't have any lives yet. So that's okay. We'll build that in another video. Let's just get the basics working. Let's just get it shooting a bullet. So what we'll do is now we'll make a constructor. And we'll let it select all these values. Take them in as parameters. All right. So then we can just determine what the bullet's position will be and what its velocity will be from an external source by sending those values as parameters. Then we can aim a bullet from another place. We don't have a predefined direction. All right, so then what is it going to look like for its code? We'll say something along the lines of void act and void show. All right, so the x function is just going to be moving for now. X equals x plus vx. Y equals y plus vy. Okay, and then for our show function, I'll just make a circle. Circle x, y, and then I don't really have a good number here, so I'll just put 10, 15, 20, I don't know. We'll probably just steal the tower's visual design for a bullet. I don't know if that stroke should be quite so big for a bullet. It doesn't matter. I'll just change it to 2. Okay, so there we go. So we have a basic bullet. It can show itself. It can move. It can be told what its value should be for its instance variables. So now we could theoretically create a list for these and then pop out some bullets out of our tower. So I'll go ahead and make the same sort of structures for storing bullets. It's going to be an array list. So we'll need an array list bullet called bullets. So clever for its name. And we'll say bullets equals new array list bullet. So now that we have 3 array lists, so again, we'll have to have a loop that will be animating everything that gets born into that list. So that's going to be in our animate things in the play tab. And I'm basically going to have the exact same code. I'm going to copy and paste it, but in a future video, we will clean this up. I just want to kind of get to the point where we have a tower, and then we can come back and look at it. So now it'll be bullets.size. We'll get a bullet. We'll call it my bullet. Bullets.get. And my bullets.show. Oh no, my bullet.show and my bullet.act as well. So these loops are important to actually make those objects, once they appear, move around. And an array list kind of functions as this ever growing and shrinking space. We don't have them shrinking yet, but we have this space that can ever grow to accommodate more and more bullets. When there's no bullets, nothing will happen. This loop will do nothing because size will be 0. But once we have some bullets, it'll just animate every single thing that's in there automatically without trouble. So we can just go throw some bullets in. Let's go back as our sort of final thing. For this video, we are going to put in an act function for the tower. So void act. So what this will do is we will be counting our cooldown up. So count cooldown plus, and if cooldown equals threshold, that means it's time to shoot a bullet. And actually we could shoot multiple bullets. I'm imagining this tower might shoot, in all 4 directions. So I will set cooldown back to 0. That's how we reset the cooldown. So it takes another, 60 frames or whatever threshold is to get back here. And then we'll say bullets.add new bullet. And we're going to add it at X and Y, which in this tab, in this class, is the tower's X and Y. So that's how the bullet will know to go to that tower. And then we'll give it, I guess this one will be, we'll do up, down, left, right. So this will be up. So that means it's going to have a Vx of a -y and a 0x. I'll choose -5 for now. I don't know if that's the right number. Probably wrong. I'll go with -10. We want these bullets to be, like really moving, zipping. Oh, I forgot a parenthesis. Okay, so I want to do the same thing, but for the other directions. So I'll just copy 4 of them. I'll make this one down, Down means positive y because of our upside down axis. I'm gonna get OCD with these. So up, down, left means lower, so that's a no y, but it does have an x that is negative. We'll do -10, and we'll do a right, which is the positive x, and no y. So now, theoretically, we've set up this structure so that a tower, every frame, will count up. If that count gets to our threshold, then we'll reset the countdown and then shoot out 4 bullets in the 4 directions, north, south, east, west. So let's see if we get bullets shooting. Okay, start. And uh-oh, no bullets. What's happening? Oh, I know what happened. I forgot to make the act function call. So if you were wondering why yours isn't working, you maybe already figured this out. But we had commented this out earlier, so we should bring it back. Alright, so now that the act function actually works, let's see, do we get bullets? Woo, there they go. Pew, pew. So this is just kind of popping out bullets. So as it stands, the bullets don't actually hurt our mob, or they don't even hit our mob. So we're going to have to reposition. It's clearly a bad place to put a tower. But we will have to reposition our tower and then actually put in some code for having the mobs die when they touch a bullet. And for that matter, making a bullet die when it touches a mob. Unless you want the bullets to pierce through, but I think that would be not the default behavior. So that'll be in our next video where we'll make the bullets and the mobs collide and disappear, or at least take damage. All right. Thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more.